Purpose of this screencast is to show you how to move content from a tab to somewhere else within your Moodle. So right now I'm in Nia Wilkes, ET 630, that she'll teach in summer 18. And she asked for some help in moving her quote for the week from her tab display. She's decided not to do tabs and to move this into her main section like it's listed here. So I've already moved her week 1, so I'm going to look at her week 2. As you can see, the quote is not already listed here. It's actually in this tab display. So I'm first going to select the tab display. And I could have also selected the edit, but you can see in the tab display when I'm looking at it, the video message, the objectives, and the quote are already here. For me to pull this and get this box, this green box around it, I first want to select Update this tab display. When you select Update, you will see the tabs are listed here and the name. So the tab 1 was that video message, tab 2 were the module objectives, and then tab 3 is the quote. If you just highlight the words at this point to copy and paste, they will not go over, you won't receive the box. You actually need to get the HTML formatting. To get to the HTML formatting, you select this little show fewer buttons, or it will state show more buttons when you select it. And you want to select the HTML button, which are the 2 little arrows. You can see this is the HTML that was created for the border. So this is that green box and the wording within it. So to move that, I just highlight it. And I'm going to copy it. I don't want to mess up anything else in case she needs it. I'm going to go back to the class. Wait for it to load. And then I'm going to go back down to week 2. So it really depends on where you want to put this. So for just like in week 1, I put it within the tab, the module display of week 1. To do that, I will select the cog. And you'll see this is where you can change. You can also change the what the module is called. I will select the show more buttons. I have to select the HTML because if I just paste it at this point, what will show up is all the code. Well, we don't want to see the code, we want to see the green box. So when I select this HTML, I can paste in the code, and then I can select this again, and it will show up in the green box. At this point, we want to select Save Changes. We'll wait for Moodle to load. So now in week 2, oops, scroll too soon. Now in week 2, it's listed within the module header. If I wanted to add it, so the way I currently have it, I can't move it. I can't move it like I can move these pieces. If I wanted it where I could, oops, let me put it back the way she had it. If I wanted to create, sometimes Moodle's fun. Okay, if I wanted to put it in a way where you could then move it, I would scroll to the bottom of this module and select Add an Activity or Resource. The type of activity you would actually want to add, not an activity itself, because the students are not interacting with this content. They are, it's more of a resource, they're reading it. And so you would want to create a label. A label is just that, it's a header, a label of information. So again, whenever you open a new editing feature within Moodle, they're all the same. We would want to select the More Options button. We would want to select the HTML, paste the HTML in. We can go down and just select Save and Return to Course at this point, or if you want to make sure it did it correctly, you can select this again and actually see it the way it's supposed to be. Within these pieces, you don't necessarily need to mess with any of them. Common module setting just says if people can see it or not. Right now, that entire section is hidden from the students as she's building, so we're going to keep that on hide. Hide means that students cannot see it. If you wanted students to be able to see it, but not until a specific date or after they accomplish something else, you could do that. We don't need that for this particular label for the quote. Activity completion. In your general settings on Moodle, it typically states, go ahead and set this. This is not something that you necessarily need students to check that they've seen it, and that's what activity completion does. So you can change this from manually marking the activity to do not indicate. That means that there will not be a box next to it stating that students should check it off. And that's completely up to you. Competencies, I don't even really know what this means, so I don't usually mess with that. The one I typically change is activity completion. Occasionally, I will restrict access to a resource until usually by a date, or if they need to read something prior to getting into something else. Save and return to course. Wait till it loads. Okay. So within this, you'll notice that you still see the quote for the week that's within the toggle. But at the bottom, whenever you add an activity, it's always at the bottom, we now also have this quote for the week. And it's movable, so I'm going to pull it up here. So if she didn't necessarily want the quote for the week to be at the top of the information, she could pull it down. And so maybe after they do their PLN, they can read the quote. She can now move it wherever she wants. So that is how you can move material from one space within your Moodle to another space, depending on where you want it to look, if it has that HTML coding.